Because some of you have the bombastic audacity to want to litigate the racial intent of a white man and absolve him of racism because of his disability.
The bombastic caucasity. Come on, Dr. Shola, surely Tourette's is Mother Nature's inward pass, but how do you turn a left-wing person into an anti-disabled bigot? Well, it turns out you just need a Scottish guy with Tourette's at the BAFTAs. Then suddenly, The Guardian is calling for disabled people to be segregated from society, and Dr. Shola Moss Shog Bang Bing Bong Bongu understands Tourette's about as well as she understands per capita. Take a look at this.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making. We're here to celebrate.
Some of you are getting on my last God-given nerves. The fact that I have to come up here to break down for you the ABCs 1, 2, 3 do-re-mis of racism, because some of you have the bombastic audacity to want to litigate the racial intent of a white man and absolve him of racism because of his disability. Now, I'm going to make time for you today. Let me say this in plain English because I'm not speaking Latin or Swahili. John Davidson is a racist white man with Tourette syndrome. And let me break this down for you. Tourette syndrome is a disability. Disability is not racism, and it does not make you racist. The Tourette syndrome simply brings out what is already in the heart, mind, and soul of the person speaking. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. The word nigger is not a Tourette syndrome condition. It is a racist condition. That word is in John Davidson's bank of vocabulary, and all the Tourette's did was bring it out.
It's in her bank of vocabulary. It's in my bank of vocabulary because she just said it. You think anyone doesn't know that word? It's in everybody's bank of vocabulary. We just don't say it because it's impolite or whatever. She knows that word. Does that make her racist? First, a word from a sponsor for this video. You know when your brain's cooked from trying to keep on top of our accelerating insanity of Western civilization circling the plug hole of oblivion, so you play some stupid little mobile game just to switch off and let your battered neurons recover? Imagine getting paid for that downtime. That's basically what Free Cash is. It's a free app where you sign up, pick a game off, or hit a few simple milestones while you play, and then cash out real money. Sign up, choose an offer, complete it, cash out. It's rated 4.7 stars on Trustpilot with over 260,000 reviews. I'm playing Disney Solitaire because I identify as a 5-year-old girl. You start the offer, make sure you enable app tracking so it can verify your progress and reward you properly, and then it shows up in My Tasks, and then you just play. Look, here I am on my couch playing Solitaire as Belle to decorate the ballroom in my castle. Here's my progress and what I've earned so far. And if you want to do in-app purchases to speed things up, Free Cash will give you cash back via bonus rewards. Look, I've got 53 quid. I'm finally making procrastination pay. When you're ready, you hit cash out and withdraw to Amazon. And here's the Amazon proof processed. Download Free Cash via my link in the description or scan the QR code and receive a $5 bonus on your first offer started. The interface might look a bit different depending on your country, but it works the same. Bonus valid in eligible countries.
Oh, I know what it's like to have intrusive thoughts. But the moment those intrusive thoughts become actions or words, the impact is real.
And she then admits that she has intrusive thoughts. So, if she has intrusive thoughts, can't she understand that Tourette's brings out those intrusive thoughts, makes you shout them out? That's what the disability is. It's basically a social calibration thing.
For those of you woeful and willful ignoramus out there, racism does not require intent to be racist. It doesn't matter. If you meant to be racist, you did it with depraved indifference, or it happened because you have a disability. The racial impact on black people as they watched Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo be racially abused on the global stage was instant, because we all knew exactly what they were thinking, what they were feeling, why they switched on and kept on moving. We knew what it was. We were in that moment with them. That impact is freaking racism. You want to undermine the racist attack against Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo to make John Davidson the victim because he's a white man with a disability. But you are the same obtuse hypocrites that condemned Kanye West as an anti-Semite, demanded action be taken against him without any consideration of his bipolar disorder and the impact his bipolar disorder would have had on his words and his actions, because he's a black man with a disability. We see you. Even the BBC was overtly racist. They made a conscious decision to edit out Free Palestine, which is not anti-Semitic, from Akinnola Davis Jr.'s acceptance speech. but they lack the moral backbone and racial consciousness to edit out nigger to protect black people. And we know why. It's because the feelings of white Zionist Jews trumps the racism experienced by black people. So no, my thoughts are not with John Davidson. My thoughts are with Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and every black person. Because we are constantly erased to center the comfort, fragility, and inferiority complex of white people. I said what I said.
She's an honorary doctor of law at Newcastle University, so you'd expect her to understand that the law measures the mens rea as well as the actus rea. The actus rea is the doing, is the act, and the mens rea is the intent. And John Davidson clearly doesn't have the intent because Tourette's is an involuntary condition. But to Dr. Shola, that doesn't matter. She says the act is racist because of its impact rather than its intent, which is a kind of worrying precedent to set because anybody can be doing anything. Somebody can find it racist, and then that's it, you've committed a crime. She says he's not the victim. I mean, he literally is the victim. He's got a disability. Although when she says the point about Kanye West having a disability as well, I think she's got a point. I think Kanye West is a troubled man. I don't think he's got the genuine malice in his words that you see in other people, and maybe he should have been given a bit of leeway. But Dr. Shola's argument is kind of undermined by the fact that there are black Tourette sufferers who do the exact same thing as John Davidson. Let's take a look at this.
No race, no denomination, no gender, no sexuality, no religion is safe when I come out. I am not a racist. I am a Tourettist, but I'm not a racist.
There's a pretty straightforward explanation. She's not a racist, but she's a Tourettist, just like John Davidson. But there's been some funny responses. I was at an awards show, and there was a standing ovation for black people. But then I looked over and saw one guy clapping from his seat. Some weird-ass seat with wheels, probably custom-made for racists to roll around in. This one took me a moment, I'm not gonna lie. Lou Perez says, I'm a parent. My children have never heard the N-word, and I plan on keeping it that way. That's why I refuse to live around people who say it. Once the penny dropped. Man, that's good. Shambo of Luxembourg said, you know, lads, I'm not entirely sure that a white Scottish community centre caretaker with a profound disability living in one of the poorest areas of the UK is actually more privileged than two famous, perfectly healthy African-American millionaire celebrities. Very good point. And in response to Jamie Foxx saying that John Davidson meant that shit, Hayden Hewitt said, what I don't understand about Jamie Foxx is why he's decided to have a stroke and fall into a coma. He's obviously very lazy. That's a great tweet. That's just pointing out that, you know, just as presumably Jamie Foxx didn't mean to have a stroke and fall into a coma, John Davidson also doesn't mean to have his disability either. There's a great reply to this. I mean, I say great. I mean great in terms of how dumb it is. So now y'all fun of stroke victims and people that been in a coma. Interesting. Very hypocritical, don't you think? And Hayden Hewitt says, oh mate, you're so close to getting it. So close. Moving on, we've got what John Davidson would look like if he was black. Because, of course, rappers and black people are allowed to say the N-word all the time. Here's what John Davidson would look like if he was allowed to say it. And if you think that's digital blackface, it's really just following in the tradition of historical revisionism where scientists and BBC producers make people from European history black, like they did with Cheddar Man, Joan of Arc, Isaac Newton, early Vikings. This person says, I feel awful for John Davidson, a man that suffers with a neurological disease being discredited for something he didn't mean to say. Hopefully the pair of tickets for the 2026 Mobo Awards I sent him will cheer him up. Very good. So the penny finally dropped as to why leftists think that John Davidson was faking his Tourette so that he could shout the N-word. They're so used to people faking problems that they forgot real disabled people can't just turn theirs off when it's socially inappropriate. This is it. Left-wing people wear mental health conditions like they wear pronoun badges. They pick things like ADHD or autism or whatever it is, and that becomes part of their identity. But they don't actually have those conditions. I've seen this so much in comedy. All these comedians say, oh, I've been diagnosed as autistic. It's like, you meet them and they're the most well-balanced, socially calibrated, confident, good at networking person on the planet. You're trying to tell me that you've got the same condition as Harvey Price, sitting in the corner of a room, holding his ears and rocking and shrieking. That's like stolen valor. You're stealing Harvey Price's victim points.
Hello, you.
Harvey. Okay, we apologise.
So obviously then, when this guy comes along, who's got an actual neurological condition, John Davidson, a real neurological condition, not one that he's faking to get an Arts Council grant or to give him some sort of interesting victim point so he can get booked by the BBC, they assume that John Davidson can turn his made-up disability off as well. But he can't, because it's a real one. But that's not even the worst thing the left did. The Guardian, which apparently champions minorities and calls for tolerance and kindness, is now blithely recommending that disabled people be excluded from society. Peter Bradshaw wrote, "What could have been done? Davidson himself made the decision to leave the event. Perhaps there could have been a conversation in advance about him attending only a chosen part of the ceremony and about what the risks were." And surely no one was better informed about these risks than Davidson. So Peter Bradshaw in The Guardian is blaming John Davidson for not removing himself from more of the ceremony, for not hiding himself away. This has echoes of the 18th century when disabled people were segregated from society, hidden away in asylums because of public discomfort and disgust. So The Guardian is now advocating the same thing, for disabled people to be segregated from society because of public discomfort and disgust. And the risks, like Peter Bradshaw's talking about the risks. I mean, this isn't unexploded ordnance. This isn't somebody releasing tigers into the auditorium. It's not raining radioactive materials down on people's heads. This is a word, just a word being shouted. Like nobody's going to lose a leg. Maybe it's, time for people to deal with their own responses to hearing a word, but only when it's said by the wrong person. It's fine. Oh, it's fine if they hear it in the film Sinners. Then the N word can be in there 19 times, but the people who wrote the film can still get upset about hearing the word. If the word is in a rap song, then it's absolutely fine. But if a Scottish guy with a disability says it, then it's a crime. Oh my goodness. Don't forget to download Free Cash using my link and make money vegging out on the couch.